If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? E-commerce is a huge industry, and there are hundreds of courses and coaches teaching you how to sell things on Amazon or Shopify. But it's not one size fits all for all the different niches. If you sell products for dogs, for example, you shouldn't follow the same exact plan as someone who sells protein supplements or hiking gear. The dog products niche is a special part of e-commerce with its own strategies and tactics and ways of speaking to your customers, and you want to learn from someone with specific expertise selling dog products on Amazon. Chad McGelsey built a highly profitable and impactful pet supplies brand and sold it for 7 figures in just 2.5 years. And he's now mentoring a few select e-commerce brand owners exclusively in the dogs product space. Message him on Facebook or Instagram at Chad McGelsey to see if you might be a fit for his one-on-one mentorship so you too can build, scale, and exit your dog products e-com brand. That's Chad McGelsey, ChadMaghilse. Okay, welcome to Wednesday. Here we get to go into a lot of the impact that my amazing guest Chad has made on wonderful fur baby parents, and some of the innovation he's had to use to, I think, very quickly. When you talk about 2.5 years, I think you said, to go from start to sell with a multiple on 1 million. That's amazing. So let's kind of come back from our conversation on Monday and talk about some of these frameworks that you used. I know we mentioned Ryan Daniel Moran, and he has a whole process, 12 months to 1 million, and a book and all that, and talks about the 4 products at 25 sales a day at $30 price point. You used that framework, but you created your own full meal deal with a recipe of all kinds of things. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, so the basis of breaking $1 million a year business down into smaller parts is what Ryan has done such a good job at defining. Like you said, 4 products, $30 price point, 25 sales a day each, or however you want to slice that. My products were cheaper than $25, most of them. I had $18 products, et cetera, so I had to sell a few more of them. But the math, ends up being the same. But yeah, that's really important. What I really had to focus on is building your audience first. And sometimes that is counterintuitive, because a lot of times people want to just, let's make the first sale. Let's get something on Amazon or whatever, and try to make the first sale. But that's short-term thinking and kind of setting yourself up to maybe have a little success at first, but not a long-term brand that's then sellable. So I think it's really important to define your person, as Ryan says, and like build an audience of those people. My people for Pets Are Kids Too, which was my pet supplies brand, was people who, like me, whose dogs were like their kids and part of their family. I didn't really sell things, or at least advertise things, to people whose dogs live in a dog shed in the backyard or anything like that. The kind of people that don't let their dogs on their couch probably aren't buying my products.
Right.
Like I sold products to fanatic dog parents that just literally see their dogs as their kids. And then when you have that person narrowed down, then you can build a Facebook group, you can build an Instagram page, you can build an email list of these very, very defined people who believe in what you're doing. We also had a very strong charity mission as part of my brand. So like my people were also the kind of people that were kind of charity driven people. So to get an audience of these people that you can then launch products to on Amazon or any other sales channel, and the pet supplies industry, Chewy.com is like the second biggest thing behind Amazon. So whenever I'm working with clients, I always recommend, Amazon and Chewy and your own website, but those are like the biggest sales channels. But when you can bring your own audience to these sales channels, drive them to your landing pages or keywords and things like that, you can really jumpstart your success. So I think that's a really important piece that too many people skip.
Yeah. And so I think I talk about this from a different angle when I'm talking about the conversation, because in my world, I look at how do I have a conversation with prospective customers, and how do we get that conversation to drive toward the products and the business. And you hit two of the most important aspects of that. Number one, find your, and you've heard this term before, raving fans, or the people who are your people, and be as narrow as you need to be to find those people. The people, I love how you said that, your people are the ones who are going to not chase the dog off the couch. I mean, my dogs sleep with me, right? And my cat, my cat sleeps in the top of up by my pillow, and the dog sleeps at my feet, right? So I basically have to wheedle my way out of bed at night if I have to get up to go to the bathroom, because I don't want to disturb the animals, right? So I would be one of your people, and not the people who have their dog sleep in a crate at night. That's not probably the people who are going to buy your products. So that is number one. Know them and know who they are, and allow them to be just as fanatical as you are about your thing. And then the giving aspect, really, especially nowadays, you can't miss that. You can't go around that, because people do want to feel part of a bigger solution in the world, not just buy their own stuff. Yes, we are commercial. Yes, we all want our stuff, but we want to feel like we're part of something bigger than that. And those two things, I think, help drive success way more than fancy marketing, fancy ads, a beautiful website, all those kinds of things. If you can connect with people at that heart level, then you're going to have a much better chance of success. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I mean, people will buy individual things or have one-time sales from any type of brand. But like your loyal customers that come back and buy all of your stuff, tell your friends about you, the kind of people that help grow your business for you, they want to be aligned with what you believe, what you stand for. Like an example I use a lot of times when I'm being interviewed, and this has nothing to do with pet supplies brands, but like just because it's such a stark contrast, coffee brands, like coffee brands all sell the same thing. They sell coffee. There's not a lot of difference in it. But like you get something like a Black Rifle Coffee Company, which is exclusively and probably offensively only for conservative gun-owning men. They sell the same coffee as like a liberal coffee brand that's more feminist and whatever. It's the same thing, but people buy from them. Like Black Rifle Coffee customers are not buying because they're slow roasted beans or any of that. They're buying because it's like the brand that gives the middle finger to Starbucks or whatever. It's just identity marketing. I don't personally like bringing politics into marketing. It's not who I am, but it works. What I did is like my marketing was for people who see pets as part of their family, but also the charity and the giving aspect that you talked about is we do a thing where we donate. Whenever somebody would send in a photo of their pet with one of our products, we would donate a portion of that sale to an individual pet with cancer. We'd find, it's not GoFundMe. There's a website called the Magic Bullet Fund, which is basically GoFundMe, but for dogs with cancer. So we'd find an individual dog, be able to tell their story, be like, okay, this dog, Brutus or whatever, this is their story of that family. This week, we're taking all of the charity donations and funding Brutus's surgery. And getting that like hyper specific really got people engaged and really got our customers to rally behind our brand. Then we'd give an update of, hey, we were able to fund X amount of this surgery thing. And that is so much more powerful than, we donate 1% to the planet, or we donate, to some undisclosed charity. But like getting hyper specific, be like, hey, we are together in this mission to help this specific person. If you're, like if you have a parenting brand, and it's like, hey, we're funding this adoption. Like that is so much more powerful than just, we donate to charities that help adoptions. So when in my world, in the dog world and all of that, people who love their dogs care about other dogs.
Yes.
It's like if I see a dog suffering, it like pisses me
Oh
off,
yeah.
because
I
I love
can't.
dogs,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And so when
Yeah.
you're in that world and you can make it hyper specific, that really just gets people to fall in love with your brand. And it's true. It's not some marketing ploy. Like we donated tens of thousands of dollars to all these different dogs, and it made a real difference in the world. And people like supporting brands that stand for what they believe in.
And it's the story behind it. You're actually making it a personal story. Did you find that somewhere? Because again, we've talked about this framework. This is part of how you personalize any kind of framework. I mean, business is very simple. You sell something for more than it costs to make it, right? I mean, it's very simple. You have employees, you have distribution, you have all those things, but it really is a numbers game. But beyond that, taking that basic, simple framework, you had to personalize that. And this is just one way, an amazing way that you did that. Did you find that somewhere? Did you just come up with that on
No,
your own?
I came. I don't know if I'd say I invented that, because I'm sure someone else
Yeah,
has
yeah,
done something
yeah,
like that before,
yeah,
but I didn't learn
yeah,
that from anybody. That
yeah.
was just I always kind of wanted to give, and I have this I guess you'd call it a Christian idea of tithing and all that. So I've always done that. So I wanted to incorporate that into my business. So we just, okay, we're going to donate a certain portion. And I was like, okay, well, how can we make this a personal thing that people can like see the good that their purchases are doing? And that's when I came up with this idea of like funding, surgeries of individual pets. And that just kind of organically came up. I don't know, had a beer and went for a walk and just came up with an idea. I don't know.
That's amazing. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
that's
really,
not something I learned from anyone, but I try
yeah,
to teach that to any client that I work with, or I mention it on podcasts, and not to make me look good, but I'd like to see more businesses do that.
completely.
Because I think
Yeah.
that capitalism combined with a charitable heart, I think, is a heck of a combo, and can do a lot of good in the world.
Yes,
So
I agree 100%. And so, we call ourselves mischief makers around here. So mischief makers listening, right? Take that idea, and not because it's a good marketing ploy. Of course it is. If that's the way you're going to think about it, then you're not really probably going to touch people's hearts. But to actually be able to look at how can you make the world a better place, and how can you take that idea and personalize it to the brand you're building and to the business you're building and the impact you want to make in the world. So that's why I have these two together, because that is a complete impact on parents of pups, of parents of animals. That is an impact we can all get behind. I can't even, if I'm scrolling Instagram and I see a dog in pain or an animal that I can't, I just have to go. I have to go to the next one. And it's wonderful, the people who are impacting and can deal with that emotion. But to give to a particular animal, I've gone through that. I had an animal that had skin cancer on her nose, right? She had a little pink nose, right? So we had to go through radiation. And we had to go into radiation. This was in the 90s. We had to go into the radiation before any of the humans got there, because they really didn't want to have the humans realize that the animal was getting the same treatment on the same machine as the humans were. So we'd have to go in at like 6:30 in the morning and make sure the little radiation gun was down on this little teeny pink nose, right? And get out before any of the humans came. Things like that. I mean, it really warms my heart that there are radiation centers. Not only did they make lots of money from this college student at the time, but they were able to open up their practice to allow for those of us who would be willing to spend $700 a pop on radiation for their cat, who then lived another 8 years, right? Major impact.
And one thing I'd throw out there, this isn't necessarily related to business, but I assume there's some dog and cat, parents and listening to this. Get pet health insurance. It exists, and my dog Brock at one point had to have a surgery that, had we not had health insurance, would have cost 10 grand. I was running my company at the time, so I had the money to pay for that, but I can't imagine, like, if you didn't have the funding and you had to choose between paying rent and saving your dog's life, that was part of my motivation for adding the charity aspect to my company. But just if you are a pet owner, look into pet health insurance. It can save you a lot of heartache at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Wow. What an amazing, I hope you listening can unpack that and think about ways that you can have an impact in the world with your products and your services. And at the same time, add that personalized story to innovate the whole process of connection. That's really what we're talking about, connecting your brand to humans and to what we do. Yikes,
Right. Like if
turn off the phone.
we've been talking about, dog companies, because that's my expertise, but like you can apply this to any industry. If you have a food brand, maybe find a underprivileged school that, there's a lot of people that go without lunch, a lot of kids that go without, and like fund that school, like a specific measurable thing that people don't be like, oh, we donate to lunches for, kids with poverty. Like, don't do that. Like find a specific thing you can support. Fund an adoption, fund, food for a specific thing. Like if you're going to provide clean water, like provide it for a specific town somewhere. Like there are a lot of charities that let you do that. I pick on this like 1% for the Planet charity just because everybody knows them, but like a lot of people don't care. They see that and they're like, oh, that's nice, but who cares? But if you're like, hey, when you buy, because there are charities out there where you can donate a tree or you can have a tree planted for $1. So if you donate $1 from purchase, be like, hey, when you buy one of our products, we are planting a tree in this specific area. Here's a photo of like where the tree is planted. Like make it as specific as possible. And this is really powerful in the pet supplies industry where I work, but in any industry, if you have a giving mindset, make it as personal as possible, because more people will interact. It'll be better for your business. You'll make more money, but it'll do more good in the world because more people will buy in and participate.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOmischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.